In the mid-1960s, driving westward across the Land Between the Lakes National Recreation Area, I was thinking about the area as it had been in earlier times. Prior to the building of the dams that created Kentucky Lake on the west and Lake Barkley on the east, flooding the low-lying portions on both sides, the land had been known simply as Between the Rivers. It was an inland peninsula running north and south, bound by the Tennessee River on the west, the Cumberland River on the east, and the mile-wide lower Ohio River across the north end. The place and its people were isolated. There were no bridges. In that strip of land, roughly 60 miles long from north to south, and 10 to 15 miles across in most parts, there lived some exceptional people. From the time of the earliest settlers in the latter 18th century until they were progressively driven from their homes by the federal government in the 1940s and 50s and 60s to depopulate the area, those people had been independent and self-reliant. They were accustomed to hard work, hardship, and deprivation, complaining to no one, expecting help from no one. They were God-fearing people, and people who feared no one but God. They had asked only to be left alone. But those people and their homes, farms, stores, churches, and schools were gone, and as I drove I was thinking of them. In the area where the town of Golden Pond had been, I paused to look around. Only clusters of trees, traces of stone walls, and cemeteries remained of that once vital, proud little town. As I continued westward from the site of Golden Pond, I saw a historical marker, pulled over, and stopped to read it. The marker was engraved with the brief history of a man named Jack Hinson, whose sons had been executed by Union troops during the federal occupation in 1862. He had set out to avenge them, becoming a sniper who terrorized the Union Army for the rest of the war. Ever since that day I have longed to know more about the man and his story, but life had taken me elsewhere. Finally, in the early 1990s, I was able to begin to pursue the story. I went back to Golden Pond, back to that marker, noted the Kentucky Archives file number, and there I started my search. Hinson's story was virtually unknown beyond those 65 words on the historical marker, and some of that was in error. Except for fragments, the story of Jack Hinson has never before been told.